The football world was quiet, until one phone call changed everything. It was August 27, 2021, a Friday afternoon, a moment that made headlines across every nation. Manchester United fans woke up to whispers that Cristiano Ronaldo, the boy they once raised into a legend, might return. But no one believed it. For 12 years, Ronaldo had gone on to conquer Spain with Real Madrid, shatter records with Juventus, and become the face of world football. He was no longer just a player, he was a global empire. And when rumors said he was heading to Manchester City, United fans felt betrayed. Their hero was about to wear the shirt of their bitter rivals. Then, in less than 24 hours, everything flipped. Sir Alex Ferguson himself, the man who raised Ronaldo like a son, made the call. He told Ronaldo, "Don't join City. Come home." By evening, it was official. Cristiano Ronaldo was back at Manchester United. Old Trafford shook when the news dropped. Shirts sold out in hours. Cameras circled the stadium. Commentators said, "This is the biggest transfer in Premier League history." But no one knew. This was not going to be a fairy tale. At first, it looked like a dream. His second debut against Newcastle United was like a Hollywood script. 90,000 voices screamed his name. And Ronaldo, at 36 years old, scored twice as if he had never left. The stadium erupted. Social media exploded. Fans wept. Pundits said, "Ronaldo has returned to save Manchester United." But beneath the cheers, cracks were already forming. United was not the team Ronaldo had once left. The dressing room was fractured. The tactics outdated. Young stars, like Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood, suddenly felt overshadowed. Ronaldo's presence was larger than life, and some players whispered, "We can't play our football when he's here." Phil. Ronaldo kept scoring. Champions League nights became his theater again. Against Villarreal, Atlanta, and even a dying seconds winner against Atlanta in Bergamo, he became the savior. Each time United looked beaten, Ronaldo would rise, leaping above defenders, smashing volleys, rescuing his team. The world said, without him, United would collapse. But the same voice that praised him also began to curse him. Critics said, "He scores, yes, but he makes United worse. He presses less. He demands everything revolve around him. He is the solution, and also the problem." Inside Old Trafford, tension grew. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager, could not control the storm. Players were divided. Some worshipped Ronaldo, others resented him. And while fans sang his name, whispers grew in the media, "Ronaldo has disrupted Manchester United." By November 2021, the dream had become a nightmare. United were losing badly. A 5-0 humiliation to Liverpool. A 4-1 defeat to Watford. Solskjaer was sacked. Ronaldo had tears in his eyes, but the world pointed fingers. His arrival destroyed the balance. And yet, even in chaos, Ronaldo's goals kept United alive in Europe. Without him, they would not have survived the group stage. Every last-minute strike was a reminder. The boy from Madeira was still a god on the pitch. But the cost was high. He was no longer just a savior. He was also the storm. And in the shadows, new enemies were forming. A new manager would soon arrive. A man with a system. A man who would not bow to Ronaldo's legend. The story was only beginning. When Manchester United announced Erik ten Hag as their new manager in April 2022, the message was clear. Discipline, structure, and system. Ten Hag was a man who believed in pressing, running, sacrifice, and teamwork. But there was a problem. The man leading United's attack was Cristiano Ronaldo, 37 years old, a global icon, and a player who had built his career on being the centerpiece, not a cog in a machine. The clash was inevitable. At first, Ten Hag spoke with diplomacy. He praised Ronaldo's greatness, saying, "He is one of the best players in history. He will score goals. But we must play as a team." But inside the training ground, something wasn't right. United's pressing drills demanded every player to sprint, chase, and close down opponents. Ronaldo, with his age and style, struggled to fit. Younger players noticed it. Some whispered, "Why do we have to press if Cristiano doesn't?" Ten Hag, however, refused to bend. He benched Ronaldo during pre-season tours. Cameras caught images of Ronaldo frustrated, walking out of the tunnel early. The headlines wrote themselves, "Cristiano Ronaldo wants to leave Manchester United." And yes, he did. That summer of 2022, Ronaldo pushed for an exit. His agent, Jorge Mendes, knocked on the doors of Europe's elite clubs. Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Napoli. Even a sensational return to Real Madrid was rumored. But no one wanted to pay his wages. No one wanted to gamble on a 37-year-old superstar, no matter how great. So Ronaldo stayed trapped. The season began. August 2022. Brighton defeated United at Old Trafford. Then Brentford humiliated them 4-0. The cameras zoomed in on Ronaldo's face, stone cold, furious, helpless. For the first time in his career, he looked like a man regretting a decision. Ten Hag doubled down. He benched Ronaldo for key games, choosing younger, faster players like Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. Commentators began asking, how can Manchester United leave the greatest goalscorer in football history on the bench? And then came the boiling point. October 2022. A Premier League match against Tottenham Hotspur. United led comfortably. Fans waited for Ronaldo to come on, to at least taste the grass. But Ten Hag left him out. Minute after minute passed. Finally, the referee blew the whistle. United had won 2-0. But instead of celebrating with the team, Ronaldo stormed down the tunnel, before the match had even ended. The world exploded. Social media burned with debate. Was this disrespect to the manager? Or was it disrespect to a legend? Ten Hag punished him. Ronaldo was dropped from the squad. Training with the reserves, the same man who had once lifted 5 Ballon d'Or trophies, now demoted like a rookie. But something deeper was happening. Ronaldo was not just battling Ten Hag. He was battling time itself. His body, still sculpted like a warrior, could not obey the demands of modern tactics. His pride, built on decades of dominance, could not accept being a substitute. And United, caught in between, were torn apart. Fans split into two armies. One side screamed, "Respect the legend. Without him, we would have fallen last season." The other replied, "He is bigger than the team. He holds us back. United must move forward." And as the war raged in the media, Ronaldo planned his counterattack. A storm was coming. An interview. A confession. A bomb that would shake Manchester United to its core. Silence is power. And Cristiano Ronaldo had been silent long enough. November 2022. The World Cup was just weeks away, and Manchester United fans expected their team to enter the break with focus and unity. But Cristiano Ronaldo had other plans. In a world where one interview can change everything, he chose his moment carefully. He sat down with Piers Morgan, one of Britain's most controversial journalists, and spoke words that would echo across the footballing world like thunder. And when those words left his lips, there was no turning back. The betrayal. Ronaldo started slowly, but his voice carried the weight of betrayal. He said he felt disrespected by Erik ten Hag. That Manchester United tried to force him out. That the club had betrayed him. For fans, this was not just shocking, it was heartbreaking. United, once the most feared club in Europe, had become a place where even their greatest legend felt unwanted. But Ronaldo did not stop there. He exposed the club's decay. The outdated training facilities. The lack of investment since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Even the kitchens, the pools, the gyms, all frozen in time, untouched while rivals like Manchester City, Liverpool, and Real Madrid built modern empires. Nothing changed since Sir Alex left, Ronaldo said, his eyes piercing into the camera. The progress is zero. It was a dagger to Manchester United's pride. The club that once stood as the theater of dreams was now painted as a museum of the past. The personal war. And then came the most explosive part. Ronaldo admitted he had no respect for Erik ten Hag because the manager had shown him none. He accused the club of not supporting him when his newborn child died, of doubting him when he needed compassion the most. It wasn't just football anymore. It was personal. The entire world listened, stunned. Commentators called it treason. Fans called it bravery. The truth was, it was both. United's board sat in shock. Ten Hag fumed in silence. The dressing room split in half. Some teammates quietly supported Ronaldo. Others felt betrayed that he aired their dirty laundry in public. The walls of Old Trafford shook, not from the roar of fans, but from the sound of its most famous son breaking the silence. The fallout. Within hours, the clips went viral. Hashtags dominated social media. Hashtag Ronaldo interview, hashtag United betrayal, hashtag CR7. Every headline screamed the same thing: Cristiano Ronaldo destroys Manchester United. But here's the suspense. Ronaldo knew what he was doing. This was not an outburst. It was strategy. He wanted out. He wanted the world to see United's flaws. And he wanted freedom, even if it meant burning every bridge left behind. Fans held their breath. What would United do? Could they forgive him? Could they punish him? Or would this be the end of one of the most famous reunions in football history? Cliffhanger ending. The answer came quickly, sharper than anyone expected. Manchester United would respond, not with words, but with a decision that would change everything. Cristiano Ronaldo's second chapter at Old Trafford was about to end, but not quietly. It would end with a contract torn apart. When Cristiano Ronaldo spoke those words, he knew there would be no going back. But even he could not have predicted the storm that followed. The boardroom war. Inside Manchester United's boardroom, chaos reigned. The Glazers, owners of the club, were furious. Not only had Ronaldo insulted their leadership, he had revealed their deepest secret, the truth about the decay at Old Trafford. Chief executives, lawyers, and advisors all scrambled. The world's biggest superstar had just detonated a bomb in public. Something had to be done. Meanwhile, Erik ten Hag remained silent in front of cameras. But behind closed doors, he demanded action. To him, Ronaldo was no longer a teammate. He was a distraction, a rebellion in human form. And so, the whispers began. Should we terminate his contract? It was unthinkable. Ronaldo, the boy who became a legend at Old Trafford, the man who once carried the club on his back, could be cut loose like an unwanted player. But the decision was made. Quietly, firmly. Ronaldo would never play for Manchester United again. The statement. November 22, 2022. The announcement came like a hammer blow. Cristiano Ronaldo is to leave Manchester United by mutual agreement, with immediate effect. No farewell match. No final bow in front of the Stretford end. No statue unveiling. No standing ovation. Just a cold statement. A love story cut in half. United fans read the news and felt their hearts shatter. Some blamed Ronaldo for betrayal. Others blamed the club for disrespect. But all agreed, this was not the ending anyone dreamed of. The boy who arrived as a teenager, who conquered Europe with Ferguson, who returned to save a broken United, was leaving through the back door. The silence before the storm. And now came the uncertainty. Ronaldo was free. But freedom, in this case, was frightening. He was 37 years old. His form, questioned. His relationship with top managers, broken. Who would want him? Who could afford him? Rumors flew across the globe. Chelsea, maybe. Bayern Munich, possible. Sporting Lisbon, a fairy tale return. But doors kept closing. Clubs whispered the same thing: too expensive, too big, too disruptive. For the first time in his career, Cristiano Ronaldo felt unwanted. Not by the fans, not by the people, but by the power brokers of football. It was a silence that echoed louder than any crowd. The World Cup. And then came Qatar. The World Cup 2022. Ronaldo wore the Portugal shirt, but he was a shadow of himself. Dropped from the starting 11. Criticized by pundits. His nation divided over whether their greatest ever player was now holding them back. The man who had built his empire on goals and glory suddenly looked human, vulnerable, mortal. Every match felt like a battle against time itself. Every mischance felt like a sign that his era was ending. Fans wondered, was this the final chapter of Cristiano Ronaldo's career? Would his last memory be of walking away from Old Trafford, discarded and disgraced? But then, in the middle of despair, came the call. A call from Saudi Arabia. A call from Al Nassr. A deal so big, so shocking, so unbelievable that it would change not just Ronaldo's career, but the entire landscape of football itself. The story was far from over. In fact, it was about to enter a whole new world. When Manchester United tore up Cristiano Ronaldo's contract, the world thought it was the end. They thought the king had fallen, that the lights had dimmed, that the greatest goal scorer of his generation would fade quietly into history. But Ronaldo had one more move left, and it would shake football to its core. The call from Saudi Arabia. In December 2022, the call came. Not from London, not from Munich, not from Madrid, but from Riyadh. From a club the Western world barely whispered about, Al Nassr. The offer? A contract worth over $200 million per year. A number so big it didn't just make headlines. It rewrote the entire rulebook of football. And so the impossible happened. Cristiano Ronaldo, the boy from Madeira, the man of Manchester, the icon of Madrid, the hero of Juventus, was about to begin a new chapter in the deserts of Saudi Arabia. The world reacts. The announcement exploded across the globe. Some mocked him. He's finished. He's just chasing money. Others defended him. He's changing the game, opening new frontiers. But everyone, absolutely everyone, was watching. Because Ronaldo had never been just a footballer. He was a phenomenon. A storm. A magnet for attention. And wherever he went, the world followed. The first goal in Saudi Arabia. It didn't take long. On a cool February night, against Al Fateh, Ronaldo stood on the penalty spot. The stadium roared. The eyes of millions were glued to their screens. He took 3 steps back. One deep breath. And then, with the same power that had broken nets in England, Spain, and Italy, he slammed the ball into the corner. Goal. The king had arrived in Saudi Arabia. And suddenly, the Saudi Pro League was on every news feed, every highlight reel, every timeline in the world. The legacy question. But behind the goals, behind the records he continued to chase, a bigger question lingered. What does this mean for his legacy? Was Ronaldo running away from Europe because he was no longer wanted? Or was he, once again, doing what he had always done, going where nobody believed he could succeed, and proving them wrong? Because slowly, people began to realize the truth. Ronaldo was not just a player for Al Nassr. He was a pioneer. Sponsors, investors, TV broadcasters, they all followed him. He was opening a door for world football, a door no one else dared to touch. And in doing so, he wasn't just saving his career. He was changing the entire map of the sport. The emotional closure. Still, in his heart, Ronaldo carried scars. The wounds of Old Trafford. The sting of betrayal. The weight of time. But on the nights he scored, on the nights the crowd chanted his name in a language different from his own, he knew one thing. He was not finished. Not yet. And maybe, just maybe, the boy who dreamed on the streets of Madeira had found one last kingdom to conquer. The ending words, emotional climax. Cristiano Ronaldo's story is not simple. He was the savior, the problem, the hero, the villain. He was worshipped, he was doubted, he was abandoned, and he was reborn. And as the sun sets on his career, one truth remains unshakable. He scored goals that will never be forgotten. He carried teams when no one else could. He turned football into a global religion. And love him or hate him, Cristiano Ronaldo will never, ever be ignored. This is not just football. This is Cristiano Ronaldo. And his story will live forever.